Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike McGarrell. I'm with New Horizons Computer Learning Centers in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Today's lesson is going to be on my way of subnetting. I call it Mike's Easy Subnetting. Here you see a TCP IP version 4 address, 192.168.5.192 right here. That's your network address that you use for your company. Your manager just came to you and he wants you to take that address and create 10 subnets from that address. So let me put a note here. That's our task, is to create 10 subnets. To create subnets in version 4, TCP/IP version 4, it's really, really easy. First thing we do is look at my binary conversion chart at the top of the page. It's color-coded here per octet. Now remember, an octet is 8 bits in length. Okay, so here is my default subnet mask for a Class C address. 192.168.5.192 is Class C address. So we want to create 10 subnets. Well, my default subnet mask here, if you'll notice, is 255.255.255.0. Okay, that is my default subnet mask or Class C address. We need to create 10 more subnets for it. Okay, now here's the hard part. All you have to do is look at that last octet. We're going to borrow, you see that last octet is being signified by a 0 in the subnet mask. So what we need to borrow is we need to borrow bits from our host portion of the subnet mask, host portion of the IP address, to make more network IDs. We got to have 10 subnets. So what would we have to borrow out of that last octet to add up to 10? And that's all you got to do is figure out, okay, what do I have to borrow to add up to however many subnets we want. We want 10 subnets. So that means I have to borrow that bit, the number 8 there, and I'm going to make that red so it stands out. And I'm going to make it bold. Okay? And then we have to borrow the 2. When I went to school, and probably when you went to school too, 8 and 2 is 10. Okay? That's my 10 subnets. But I can't borrow individual bits. I have to borrow consecutive bits. Okay? So that tells me right here, I have to borrow those bits right there. I have to borrow all 4 of those bits right there. So to do that, I put in here, right here, 1. Well, I'll use the same color here, so give me 1 second. I want to use that real bright red. I got to borrow that bit. I got to borrow that bit, that one, and that one. Okay? There's borrowing 4 bits. That's going to give me my subnet mask. Okay, so if you scroll on down here a little bit, if I scroll on down here a little bit, I'm borrowing 4 bits, right? Right there. I'm borrowing those 4 bits. So my subnet mask is going to be 240. So I put that right here. Here's my subnet mask. 255.255.255.240. Okay, there's my subnet mask. Okay, so now how do I go about figuring out what my network IDs are? And people make this much more complicated than what it needs to be. To figure out what your network ranges, your network IDs are, all we need to do is take that bit right there, that last bit. That's called the least significant bit. And you'll see that it is right underneath the placeholder for 16. That's my network ranges. Now all I need to do is start counting by 16s. So if you look here, my network IDs are 0, and then 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112, 128, 144. That's my 10 subnets that the manager wanted, right? That's your network IDs. Now, every network ID also has a broadcast ID. The broadcast ID is one less than the next network ID. Here you'll see, there's my network ID is 0, okay? My broadcast ID for that network is 15. Why? Look at my next network ID. My next network ID is 16. And its broadcast is 31. My network is 32. Its broadcast is 47. And you just carry that down all the way down through 10 different subnets. This process works with any subnets, any amount of subnets that you would need to configure. You know, if we looked at this real quick, all right, and let's say, just for an example, the boss said, I want you to create 5 subnets. You see where we're going with this? To create 5 subnets, what would I have to do? To create 5 subnets, I would have to move this out of the way, delete that. To create 5 subnets, change this back to there. All right, to create 5 subnets, what do I got to do? I got to borrow the 4, and I have to borrow the 1. That means I have to borrow 3 bits, doesn't it? So that means I'm borrowing this bit, then I'm borrowing this bit, and I'm borrowing this one. So I take my little box, put it back over top up here. So that means I'm in 32s. So now all I have to do is, instead of counting by 16s, all I have to do is come down here and start counting by 32s. That gives me my network ID and my broadcast ID. My subnet mask for 5 subnets, I'm borrowing 3 bits. So my subnet mask for that 5 subnets would be a 224. So I would be at 255.255.255.224. Okay, now start counting by 32s. We got 0, 32, 64, and 32 is 96. All right, put in your broadcast address, 31, 63, 91. Okay, 32 and 92 would be what, 124? So this would be 123, and 31 would be 55, 155. There's your 5 subnets. That's simple. All you're doing is counting by 32s. That's the end of the recording. I hope you have a nice day, and I hope this makes subnetting much easier for you. Remember, the whole key to it is, how many subnets do you need? Okay, our first example was 10, so I have to figure out from my binary conversion chart, what numbers do I have to borrow to make 10? Our first example, I had to borrow the 8, and I had to borrow the 2. That gave me 4 bits. Okay, I look at my binary conversion chart, 4 bits, that gives me a subnet mask of 240. All right, so I plug in my subnet mask. I move my square over to the 16 block. Whoops. Borrow that one, and we're done. That's all there is to subnetting. Thank you, and have a very good day.